making a video. This is anarchy stuff again. You know, it's just such a waste of time. But, you know, unfortunately, there's not much you can do while we're waiting for the real revolution. You know, not the anarcho one. But anyway, so I'll play some of this. But you know, there's the same old crap. Let's just pretend the word doesn't mean what it means, and let's redefine the word. For what? For what purpose? To hide that we're really communists. Okay, fine. I mean, it's just so stupid. You know, I'm not promoting anarcho-capitalism, because yes, you're promoting anarcho-communism. And it even provides a link to it. You know, some little community in Spain, you know, 1,800 people took over a farm. Stole it, basically. And yeah, so they can now at least employ the unemployed at not a great wage, but a living wage, let's call it. I'm sure the state is still providing health care and education and all the other big infrastructure. It's a small, you know, everybody's still able to own little private businesses and bars and laundriettes and whatnot. Same old capitalism going on in every other respect, but they just essentially said, let's just nationalize an asset that has value, and we can use it to employ people, which is good. I'm all for that. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to run businesses. That's the secret here, right? The rich are not providing a service, they're just charging us to own stuff. They're not running anything. Running it doesn't take much work. Put a couple of people in charge, keep them accountable. It's not really that complicated. So anyway, that's not our anarchy, jackass. It's not even close to anarchy. It's you know, hundreds of millions of miles away from anarchy. And so just but you're saying these people sound like they have a brain, like they're so somewhat intelligent, and yet they're playing just the silliest of word games. What the fuck? I mean, we're in a real mess, and you assholes are coming with a solution of let's play a word game. It's not a solution. Advocate for you know, a fair civilization. Advocate for some kind of deserve should have something to do with it. But this nonsense, this wishy-washy, I'm not going to call myself a communist even though you're a communist. I mean, fuck. It's stupid. It's a lie, and it's deceptive, and it's dishonest, and it's bullshit. Stop doing it. Stop pretending. Are you coming in or not? I guess he was just voicing an opinion. He doesn't like the rain. It's not really raining, it's just drizzling, but, you know, from a cat's perspective. But anyway, so anyway, this whole point that, you know, he's playing this word game now, the rules, not rulers, kind of bullshit. It's just the same difference. Yeah, come on.
Anarchy on the internet as a concept has been hijacked by such types as Stefan Molyneux, Larkin Rose, Mark Stevens.
Yeah, I'd say you have hijacked the word also, okay? The word has a meaning, okay? And it's not a good thing, anarchy. It's just not. It's not rationally applicable to the human circumstance. It would work in no circumstance. I mean, you can just go with the commons arguments, the most obvious. Any common thing, fisheries, lobstering, whatever. You know, if you had anarchy, there'd be no lobsters in 10 years. Just a fact that unless you did something to reduce human population or keep it small enough so it can't hunt things to death, people just hunt it all to death. It's just a fact. And that's a simple thing. Now, I haven't even gotten to the, you know, where you're going to have to lock your women up. It's just so stupid.
And many others who form the online presence, that is, voluntarists, libertarians, Randians and anarcho-capitalists.
And crappy loony commies who can't just come up right out and say, I'm a commie. Yeah. He links to this thing, this little fake, this little imaginary commie community, it doesn't look all that charming, to tell you the truth. Kind of dirty and smelly. And but there's no explanation of how it has going to have any durability. You pay everybody the same salary, so the guy who's working in the swamp is getting the same amount of money as the guy working in the high trees or something, or this or that. I mean, you know, even farming has different jobs of different risk. You know, if you don't pay people differently for the risk they're taking, you're ripping them off. You're treating them unfairly. I mean, it's just, you know. Oh yeah, I'm volunteering to be the sucker all the time. No. I mean, at least if they drew straws or something. I'm just saying you can create mechanisms that have at least some measure of fairness, but there's some things you're just never going to be able to fix. There's only so many supermodels in the world. There's only so much beachfront to live on. And there's stuff there's always going to be a premium for, and there's no way to stretch it into everybody's pocket without destroying the value of it. Some things are only precious because only a few people can soil them. And if everybody gets to soil, if everybody's using the same toilet, you're not going to want to shit there.
So much, in fact, that there seems to be many conflations and equivocations as to what anarchy with a large A and what anarchy with a small a mean.
Yeah, whatever. Like, this makes any sense as a political strategy. Let's play a game where we have to figure out whether you're small A-ing or big A-ing, or A with a slashy or A with a roundy. I mean, fuck you people in this monstrously stupid political strategy. I mean, why advocate for change when you're going to do it in this silly, stupid, retarded manner?
Fresh with something more succinct and hopefully more practical and unambiguous.
Yeah, sorry, you don't even can come close to that unambiguous part. Just a bunch of la 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 la.
Anarchy is often used as a derogatory term, say in the mouths of monarchs and governments.
All right,
which
so
is intended to mean something.
right, this is all some kind of conspiracy by the monarchs of the past to create a word to describe chaos and an unruly, the circumstance of need, want without any kind of regulation, and the fact that it just isn't going to work. That human beings are kind of selfish. They're assholes by nature, need machines, and their needs are always going to seem more important than the other guy's needs, and that's just a fact of life. And you're just playing a silly game to pretend that we can function perfectly fine by just agreeing to clean up each other's messes or something. No, I don't think so. We're not going to piss anybody off. Nobody's going to have any kind of dispute resolution by some other authority than let's go with the mob and see. Let's ask the Godfather what the right thing to do is, right? That didn't work either. There's another hierarchy.
Like a rebel. Those who are lawless and of a serious danger to the...
Right, so they're anarchy, a state of disorder due to absence of non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems. Yes, it's kind of important. Human beings need controlling systems. It's just a denial of reality to think they don't. We need rules to impose fairness, or we will cheat. Is in the nature of the beast, I'm afraid. So you can play all these silly games, but they're just silly fucking games.
Establishment, and who have to be oppressed and controlled. Insofar as anarchy being a threat to establishment, this definition is certainly true.
Yeah, well, none of this is applicable in any way whatsoever, because you're not even defining what it is you're so egreged by. What are you egreged by, douchebag? You don't sound like an egreged kind of person, actually. What's your grievance? What's the horrid oppression you want freedom from? Maybe you should just talk about that.
Are all anarchic if we act independently from the suggestions or orders of others?
The suggestions or orders of others, whatever that even means. Right, you mean in a democracy? That's where most people are living now in the civilized world, which you're talking about, that you don't find civilized enough. And although I have lots of critiques of the fact that our democracy is not representative, it's not one man, one vote, it's not a fair fight, and we can make it that, instead of arguing to fix the democracy that exists, you're just playing a game like somehow we can do without it, and we can't. So, fuck you, you're stupid.
In a more broader sense, Anarchy means no rules and no rulers. However, this is not as clear-cut as it seems.
No, it is as clear-cut as it seems, and you're just playing a word game. I mean, look, if you want a fairer system, then argue for a fairer system. Use words that people understand have something to do with that approach. Anarchy has nothing to do with creating fairness. It has nothing to do with making deserve have something to do with it. It has nothing to do with concepts like earning it. That's not what anarchy is. So why pretend that anarchy is the catchword for, that will solve all of the inequity problems? It won't do that. And it certainly won't make a child molester say, I don't want to molest children. I mean, this is just stupid.
For some anarchists, or at least those who have anarchy as an ideal, rules are possible, but rulers are not.
Yeah, whatever that means again. I mean, do I really care? Benevolent dictator or mob democracy, right? A bunch of people who are alcoholics telling me, I think we ought to subsidize, whatever, barfatodiums or something, or whatever the thing would be. Some, peanut factories. Free peanuts for everybody, because they go with our drinking. I'm having kids, you should pay for my kids. This kind of crap. Majority vice wins, minority vice loses. That's not really a good game. And that's why you have to write constitutions. And unfortunately, we don't have judges that know what a constitution is, so they can't really figure out that they're supposed to be defending one. But don't fix that problem. Instead, do this nonsense. Great. Fantastic. No. This sucks. I mean, it's just such a waste of... You have enough intelligence to figure out something's broken, and then you reach for the leprechaun shillelagh, to fix it. Fuck.
To make this more technical, anarchists in more modern times talk about being against domination.
Yeah, and what's your dominating problem? Just explain to me what this domination is. What? I mean, identify the villain here. If you're going to say it's the evil, rich, inherent wealth capitalist system, well, there, you might have an argument then. Let's talk about that. But this vague bullshit, I'm being dominated. Now, frankly, you're freer than humans have ever been. And here you're, you're doing such an indignity to people that lived under real hard oppression to play this game that, oh yeah, they should have known about anarchy. That would have been a solution. Fuck. Yeah, right, you build great civilizations. Anarchy. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't happen.
Domination meaning a relationship in which one person is a ruler and another is ruled.
Right. Well, we got rid of the monarchs, okay? So that's really not the game we're playing. Now, you want to say that money has too much influence? Well, then you're copping out, too. Because we all have voices on this internet thing. If the masses gave a shit, they could support and have a better world. But they don't. They want their Starbucks. They want their McDonald's. They want their, they want to be fed their corporate cheap cheese.
One a master, another a slave.
They want their lottery tickets.
A relationship in which power is fixed in an unequal way.
Right, well, we know that's not what we have, right? Like I said, you have a system that is fixable. You just don't, people don't vote to fix it. So what is the argument? The argument is you aren't making a good enough argument for rational change. And I guess I would partly say to you, part of the reason why you're not going to be able to make that argument is because you're lying about what you're advocating for. Instead of calling it communism or some kind of socialism or something, you're calling it some kind of silly thing like anarchy. And even dumb people know, well, that can't be good. Even dumb people know in the game of anarchy, if you buy it at the store, let's play anarchy, they're probably not going to win.
It may be possible to live anarchically and have some kind of rules
that you don't have to obey, and that are just ideas or symbolic things, little goodieisms you could write on the blackboard, but it doesn't really matter. You don't have to pay any attention, if you don't want to. Again, it's just you're just not gonna deal with real problems that people have with this nonsense. So let's have a rule. You can only take so many lobsters out of the sea, and people are gonna say, "But I have bills to pay." Mouse failure. I recharged the battery. Was not up to snuff. So we'll try another one. Ooh. Well, that one tried to kill me. It's an assassin battery. Very dangerous.
i.e. rules that are freely agreed by free individuals.
Yeah, I just couldn't even care less about the freely agreed by freely individuals. What does that mean? That, nobody poops in anybody's living room on purpose. Okay, there. We have a freely agreed rule that isn't too offensive to anyone's freedom. But where else is this going to be applicable? To what other circumstances is this going to make any sense? Oh, that's right. None whatsoever.
For example, if a group of friends agree that we will organise ourselves in a certain way, whether...
What does that mean? Like, we'll have an all-white club. Okay, we've agreed to have an all-white club. Okay, step 2 is... don't let any blacks in. Yeah, okay, yeah. We agreed on that rule. Yeah, that was easy enough, wasn't it? Gee, how friendly.
That means rules for planning things securely, or doing the dishes, or whatever it is.
And whatever it is going to be, again, how are you going to establish these rules? Because some of these things are going to affect only a minority of the group, or only a tiny percentage of the group. And then the majority of the group can say, well, I don't really give a shit about that percentage of the group. I don't really care about the dishwashers. And they can neglect them pretty easily in the next election. You get it? It just turns into the mob again. That's the interest... the most populist interest wins, and so then your freedom goes right down the toilet, because you have to have a constitution. You have to have a basic disciplining document of principles that says, look, we're always going to try to achieve fairness, and if we can't do it rationally, then the minimum we'll always guarantee you is that we'll at least give you a random chance. If we can't give you a logical, real fight for fairness, then we'll at least give you draw straws or something. But we're not going to give you the cheat of, I have, you don't, privilege or something. We're not going to give people immunity from the price, kind of a thing. Something like that.
What would be a possible problem are rules that are either, one, imposed on us by rulers, or also
our neighbors, or the other people who have interests different than mine. I mean, really, it just, it just happen. It's inevitable. They all have like penis dysfunction or something, and then they say, well, let's make penis pills part of our health care plan so we don't have to pay for them, so we can make the other guy who doesn't have problems pay for them. It's always going to turn into that, jackass. Whatever number of people you have, if there's 4 versus 3 or 5 versus 4 or whatever the majority is, they're always going to have the power to fuck over the minority. Unless you have some sort of constitution, some sort of principled document that says, hey, as soon as you do that shit, fuck you, the vote's off.
To become norms, i.e. customs and traditions that we stick to.
Yeah, like what are those? Exactly. Yeah, I'm just saying, there's just no point in even talking about that kind of crap, right? I mean, is it a custom or a tradition to, torture animals or something, or molest children, or I can go down the list of the 5 million things you have to have rules about. And because you're a group of fucking sadistic rapists, we all should say it's okay to rape?
Because of what, say, Friedrich Nietzsche would call the herd.
Well, Friedrich Nietzsche was a fucking lunatic. Even before he was an official lunatic.
Mentality from fear of being different or being...
Yeah, well, so explain to me how that's a real burden in your life, Mr. Anarchist. I mean, explain how you can't get past that. I mean, you know, some of you idiots tattoo this crap on your fucking forehead. I mean, you don't have any fucking herd mentality fear, so obviously that's not a real problem for you, is it? You've overcome that, haven't you? Has the state come down and killed you because you're not doing the herd mentality thing? No, you don't have any... This isn't a grievance, shithead. If you can't win the argument, well, that's a problem, but you can't blame herd mentality. You have to blame your argument sucks.
Then I think this should not really be a problem for Anarchy.
Leave the group freely if we don't want to hold the rules anymore. So what, move out of your house that you've spent 30 years taking care of? Yeah, or something. What, is that how it works? No, fuck you.
In this sense, Anarchy is more of an emergent process of...
It's nothing. It's just such a crock of shit. Anarchy is evolution. Is, you know, the fact is, it's, you know, the winner is going to be defined by the guy who decides to be the winner. You know, all this right, merit earned, all that shit doesn't mean anything. It's just going to be the guy who's willing to point the gun and pull the trigger.
Flux, rather than something that is established, canonical, and fixed. When it...
Yeah, well, whatever. I think fairness is a fixed thing, and those kind of principles are kind of fixed, and you're just not going to be able to evade them. So if you want to create something called fairness or deserve or earned, those are going to be fixed principles that are going to get you there, not unfixed principles.
Comes to the formation of cooperative rules, another topic we shall cover in a future video.
Yeah, whatever. No, you won't cover it nearly in anything called enough depth for it to mean anything. I mean, cooperative rules are going to get very, very complicated as soon as you try to do the fairness thing. Fairness takes a lot of work. You have to construct it. It just doesn't happen all by itself.
Natural and artificial ways. These confusing terms are rife among those who refer to themselves as voluntarists, like...
Yeah, well, whatever it is. Yeah, you all refer to yourself as something other than the jackass that you is. And that's a problem. And it's all a cover for some sort of racism or some other kind of ism, in my opinion. I don't see any other reason for this. You can identify the problem. Poor people suck. Rich people suck. Workers, good. There, we're done, aren't we? Yeah, haven't we fixed it?
Molyneux, Larkin Rose, Mark Stevens, and I think I've even heard more.
Right, I can go with all the whatever, all the list of the icons of the silly communists who won't call themselves communists.
Passio mentioned something similar with moral absolutism. The crux of their argument is very weak, as it conflates arbitrary with...
Yeah, whatever. You say it's very weak. They're just arguing for the same thing you are, except the rule should be a success. So anyone who succeeds, no matter how they gain that success or that authority, should have the freedom to exercise it because they earned it. So it's just another sillier definition of what earning is. Yes.
Invalid. But in an anarchist society like the one I have described in principle, the subjectivity of the individual and the affectation between other people's...
Well, again, all of this crap, what does this mean? The subjectivity of the individual. What does that mean? It means that, what, I'm allowed to subjectively think that an hour of my time is worth $1 million? You know, so pay me $1 million because that's what I subjectively think an hour of my time is worth. This doesn't go anywhere.
Relative subjectivity would be the foundation for the rules anyway. Natural laws don't provide established ethics.
Well, whatever that even means too. Natural laws don't provide established ethics. I think a lot of them do, and they have as their fundamentally they have a principle involved, like you don't take advantage of retards or something. You don't steal candy from babies.
They are imposed on us through our own creation of the notions of hierarchy and ideals of a...
Yeah, whatever, right. So again, it's a notion of hierarchy to have a representative democracy. No doubt this guy lives in one, and he's bitching and moaning because he can't figure out how to make an argument in that democracy that means anything to people. And I share his pain, but I'm just saying accept that that's the problem. And you're not going to fix it by calling it anarchy. So dream on. I mean, all you can do is find a bunch of truther lunatics, people who believe in Martians and reptilians. Maybe they can fall for this anarchy shit, but nobody with a brain is going to sit there and waste time saying, yes, let's all jump on the anarchy wagon because that's the road to civilization. I mean, it's just it's oxymoronic.
Political nature. Natural law is a non sequitur jump from what is to what ought to be.
Well, whatever now, isn't that? That's just terrible, right? So this is another one of these guys who just doesn't think that we can make an ought out of the simple premises of our reality, which is we have a package of needs. And ideally we want to find some system that gets the most needs met without the least needs violated. Gee, too complicated, huh? So we ought not to apply logic and say that's really what you're after.
In morality and ethics. Just because Darwin may have interpreted an environment that favours the strongest species...
He didn't interpret anything, so I don't even know why you're saying that in that way. It's just such a silly way to say it. Darwin didn't interpret anything. Darwin provided evidence of a natural system that works this way.
Does not mean that the stronger species ought to be favoured, for an example of jumping from is to ought. Anyway.
Well, as an example of jumping from what? I mean, it's just so stupid. Suffering is bad. It ought not to exist. Gee, that was difficult.
I digress.
You misgress. You fuckgress. You fucking waste time. Gress.
Hopefully, this video will open up a better avenue for the discussion of anarchy.
No, it's a discussion of let's all pretend we're doing something different than what we're really doing. Let's all hide behind words because they're fun and exciting, and we can paint them in black and red and blah, blah, blah. Look, we're about something. Blah, we're bold and exciting. But really, we want to be just collectivist potato farmers. Ooh, yeah, that sounds like a great time.
As it's not all about capitalism either. There are political ideologies that don't include private property, from the likes of Peter Kropotkin.
It'd be nice if you picked somebody from, like, somewhere in the 20th century, you know. I mean, this guy doesn't look like exactly Mr. Good Time Charlie either. I don't know if I want to live in Kropotkinville.
We can have anarcho-communism as a possible society too. In short, anarchy is freedom.
Ah, there you go. See, that's why I've said it before. They're just hiding. They want to pretend they're about freedom when they're really not. They're about exclusion. They want to just pretend that we can just make all the bad people go away. All the people who want too much, we'll just pretend they don't exist. The freedom to be deluded. I want to go live in leprechaun land because I'm a leprechaun. It's like this guy could be 4 feet 7 inches tall, and he's just basically saying, I'm going to go live in Midgetonia.
And this is something I want to fulfill as best I can in my life, and with the hope...
Yeah, whatever. Silly, 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 silly. So, yes, if your hope is to be silly, you've accomplished it. Great work.
That future generations can enjoy more freedom than...
More? What kind of freedom will they enjoy? The freedom to have one of those near minimum wage jobs at the collectivist potato plant. Oh, gee. Oh, yeah. Great.
We can as well. Therefore, I am encouraging this discussion. Anarchy on the
discussion about what? Again, you got to get to the policy arguments. What laws do you wish to change? What elements of the structure of human interaction do you wish to change? And then he talks about this like you can do it in some kind of slow and progressive way, like you can slowly and progressively move towards anarchy. It's like slowly and progressively going from a civilization that is running water to one that uses buckets again and something. It's just, you're not slowly going to move in that direction. It just ain't going to happen. If you want to go back to bucket land, you're going to have to blow up everything that isn't a bucket. That's not a great analogy. Anyway, this is just, stupid. It's just so stupid. It's just dishonest. Again, I'm just saying. I mean, this guy's overtly dishonest, so you understand why he's playing a game with words. But this guy doesn't sound like he wishes to be a douchebag, and he's just being a douchebag. Let's just pretend we're not talking about this, and instead let's pretend we're talking about that. And you're not talking about that. You're not defending freedom